In this video, I'm going to show you how Aida used the 90 plus GAMSAT methodology to go from 44 to 79 in just one sit.
What up, my G's? I am so excited about today's video. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and for trusting me with your med journey. I promise you, I'll take care of you. If you don't know who I am, I'm Michael Sunderland. I am a UniMel med student. I scored 91 in Section 2 in September 2020 and 82 overall. And since 1992, that was only the 5th time somebody had done that. But in the 6 sittings since, a student of mine has scored 90 or higher, and 40% of my students score above 80. I've written 7 books on Section 2. I love it, and I just love helping students get into med. We're going to talk about the biggest uplift from last sit. That was Aida. She scored 35 points higher, 44 to 79. I don't know what happened. Well, I do actually, and I'm going to take you through it today. So what we're going to do is learn a little bit about her story. I'm going to show you her essays and what they looked like before we met, and we'll go through them so you can see why she was being held back by some of the things she was doing, and maybe you're doing some of them, and I can show you how to stop doing that. And you'll be able to hear some of the advice that I gave her. And then we'll have a look at what they looked like after, and I'll show you why they were better, how come she got a 79, and you'll be very clear by the end of the video what you can do about it and how you can apply the same thing she did and get an uplift on your mark. All right, are you ready? Let's get to work.
Aida is a student from Melbourne. I noticed that she joined the Section 2 sorter group on Facebook, and like many students with enormous improvements in Section 2, she started actively participating there, asking questions and posting essays, which I would respond to and provide feedback on. In November 22, we decided to team up and work together one-on-one. Like many GAMSAT students, this wasn't her first sit, and her highest score in Section 2 was 44 when we met. She was a diligent studier and a good student. I sometimes come across students who don't lack capability, but they lack clarity on what to do. They might be hitting the bullseye of what they think the target is, but they're just shooting at the wrong target. And when they learn what they should be doing, they can often execute reasonably well. One of the main challenges she was having was initially it took literally days to write an essay. I promised to help. Now let's take a look at what her writing looked like before we started working together.
Oh no. I just recorded like 10 minutes of this for you. Just deleted. Cries. All right, back to the start. So this is Aida. I've blocked out the information that's sensitive or not relevant. But as you can see, prior to us meeting, she had a 44. One thing I wanted to show you guys about her document is I have all my students write hopes and expectations for our time together, as well as perceived strengths and weaknesses. But I'm not sure I've ever had a student write as much in this section as did Aida. And that, I think, was the first indication that this was going to be a good student, because the more you put in, the more you get out. You can see, obviously, this is a major issue. She's gone down from taking days to write an essay to a 2-hour block if she pressures herself. So what we're going to see today, in some respects, you'll look at and go, I'm not sure this is really a 44. It might be that, you know, we look at this essay and we go, okay, well, look, in a vacuum, this essay might actually be quite good. It just goes to show how it's sometimes the essay itself is right, but the way that we deal with our timing, the way we deal with our relevance, the way we deal with our mindset on the day, some of these other things that surround the actual quality of the writing itself can be really responsible for the quality of the writing. So I think this is going to be a case study, not necessarily in, hey, here was really, really poor writing and here it's really good, but rather here's a really, really poor GAMSAT result in spite of reasonable writing. And then you get to see that actually it's not about the techniques, it's not about the structure. There are so many things that go into a GAMSAT student performing well in Section 2. It's mindset, it's relevance, it's timing, there's so much. All right, so here we start. Now this is the prompt. It's from here, 1992. This politician, Pat Robinson, whoever that is, has quite strongly worded, had an idea about feminism. All right, let's jump straight in. So, feminism and its potential threat to capitalism remains a controversial topic of debate. I told her not to do this. I said canned because it's like a canned opening. It's one that students very commonly start their essays with. So, you know, they'll say something like, topic has been a source of great debate over history, or people have had different opinions on this for time immemorial. Some statement like that is very, very common, and it gets a little bit tiring as a marker. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with it. It's just that yeah, I mean, if a lot of people who are scoring less well are doing it, maybe we could steer clear. All right, this is fine. I think she meant gratefully here. We're in a conference room. So I think here you'll see as we go through the essay, but I think she's trying to write it as if it's a speech. Look, while there is absolutely no prescription for what kind of style of writing that you use in section 2, there are some that are known to work reliably, and while there could be merit for some people in straying from that, in most cases I'd just avoid that. So I would probably recommend that we get rid of this. It's just really wasting words to make a stylistic point of difference, really. All right, this definitely could come across as arrogant, so we want to make a good first impression early in the essay. It's our chance to endear ourselves to the marker, whether it's being self-deprecating or insightful or having humility. Look, it's not a marking criteria, but if you compared two identical essays, one who endeared themselves to the marker and one who didn't, I suspect the one who endeared themselves would be better. And even if not, I just think it's, we're in the business of being perfect, of chasing 1% improvements, like just viciously. And that's one of them. So you stuck a bunch of 1% improvements, you can't not improve. All right, remains a beneficial economic system based on meritocracy. Fine, needless to say. If it's needless to say, don't say it. You just wasted the time writing those letters. That it brings with it its flaws. However, the reward of freedom and the ability to work hard to achieve what you want far exceed the imperfections. There's a syntax error here, but anyway. Contemporary feminism. Yeah, so this is fine. I've got no issue with this. Now, this is just a complete waste of words. We know that you're saying it because you're saying it. But you can't just cut it out, because then you'd be saying the single most dangerous threat to humankind. That would be a very strong thing to say in a GAMSAT essay. The marker's going to assume it in your early 20s. They know that you're unprepared and they know that it's a timed test. So there's some contextual humility that would be appropriate here. So I've said, you could just say it could be said, would be a better way to say that. Now this is, again, total waste of words. You don't need to say that. We know you're saying it because you're saying it. So just cut all that out. Now the highlighting stuff, or the highlighted stuff, is stuff that I think is generally, it's good. You did well there. And we see here that this is clearly where this isn't really typical of what we would ordinarily see of someone scoring the 44. I wanted to show this essay because, you'll see why. There are some psychometric errors in this essay that really hold it back. And I don't think it's just that. I think it's also the timing and the relevance that probably fed into that mark. All right. Yeah, I think this needs to be reworded. Also, what this essay doesn't do, and it's one of the things that I got Aida to start doing, and we'll see later on when we look at her other essay, is that you want why would you bother to write an essay? Why would anybody bother to write an essay if it wasn't for the GAMSAT or for uni? Oscar Wilde or George Orwell, they wrote essays. Why? You've got an opinion that you want to communicate. But if you've got an opinion, I'm not just going to believe you. You've got to give me reasons for thinking what you're thinking is correct. And so what will happen in the essay for someone who's writing an essay like that is that what is said will correspond to the contention that's held. There'll be some organization, purpose, or telos, if you want to use that word, that directs and orders the intention and everything, that all the little decisions that happen as the essay progresses in some common direction and for some purpose. And that's exactly what ACER asks. I'll show you a couple of reference points of my justification of that. So over here we have the ACER information book. You can see they say that written communication is assessed on two broad criteria: the quality of thinking about a topic, and they say that assessment focuses on the ways in which ideas are keyword integrated into a thoughtful response to the task. So in other words, it's not enough just to, they say what is made of and developed. That's really quote interpretation. That's another topic. But the kinds of topics offered, the kinds of thoughts offered in response to the task, it's not just enough to have good thoughts, though. They're saying that we need to integrate them somehow. Okay. And then they say that the control and use of language demonstrated in the articulation of that thinking, which they expand on here. Grammar and structure. Grammatical structure and expression is an integral component of a good piece of writing, but not assessed in isolation, only insofar as it contributes to the effectiveness of the response to the task. Now, I'm just going to press pause for 2 moments and go and get you another document from ACER. I've been reading through their archives recently, and we'll see what that says. All right, here it is. This is from Juliet. She's the head of humanities at ACER, I believe. And this is talking about, ACER administrate a bunch of tests. So this is talking about the various ways they mark writing. But for the GAMSAT, it says here, they do holistic marking. You might recognize this. It's from the book we were just reading here. But interestingly, she says that they're not marked equally, that they subordinate themselves to one another. So really, it's the thought and content that she wants. I'll let you pause and read the rest of that now. And then lastly, from the ACT scaling test, another test administered by ACER, down the bottom, Mr. Doug McCurry, that's him there, says the strongest answers develop a view and organize an argument. They organize a view to make a cogent argument, and that means like clear and logical and concise. and it's a developed and substantiated point of view. In other words, what are we hearing? Integration, organization, development, substantiation, towards what? A cogent argument. In other words, the topic sentences that you have should correspond in a meaningful way to the contention that you hold. Even it doesn't need to be a sound argument. You guys might have heard me talk about syllogism. It doesn't need to be like that. It could be a coherent argument. So, for example, why'd you go to Macca's? Because I was hungry and it was cheap. Makes perfect sense. Now, I don't have to go to Macca's because it's hungry and it's cheap, so it's not a sound argument, but I understand why you did go to Macca's in light of those two bits of information. Similarly, I'd like that these two things, that if you put them together, I say, yeah, you've made a reasonable case for this. I see why you hold this position now. Okay, and that will order and direct your writing. Your thoughts will be integrated, and it will order it in some kind of, towards some telos, some purpose, which is to say, the purpose in this case is to make a cogent argument, because that's what ACER like. All right then. Nothing harms capitalism and meritocracy more than... Yeah, look, it's a bit of a flashy sentence. I think it's unnecessarily strongly worded. I'd encourage you to be a little bit more on the fence about that, not make absolute statements. Funnily enough, I think she means any ideology that strives to abolish hierarchy. Okay. I see that you're asserting that, but you probably want to back up that claim. Why are you saying that? Also, I would encourage you to put an example here just to make a bit more sense of what radicalized ideologies are you referring to. You want to situate your marker in the point. And that's where here, I think, this would be better up here. And she could probably pull back on the exclamation marks. Yeah, and I don't really know who these people are, though. So I think she needs to probably have a year and then specify the event for the purpose of clarity. Don't ask the marker questions. You're not going to get into med school by asking questions. You get into it for answering questions, perhaps, as long as the answers show things about you that indicate to the marker that you'd be a good doctor. This is kind of, it's in that kind of conversational style, but you're wasting words. Also, the tone is a little bit sanctimonious. And the problem with that is, aside from the fact it's not endearing, it's, let me pause again and I'll get you another thing from the ACER archives. Here we go. And you guys could go and research there if you want to have a read. But they say that we're testing the ability to engage in effective relationships with others. Now, to be fair, this particular article wasn't in the context of the GAMSAT, but nevertheless, we talk about the importance of effective communication with patients. So this doesn't really give me the impression of someone that's going to engage in effective relationships with other people. All right. Yeah, and I would just avoid talking to the marker. Cut out completely the rhetorical questions. You're not going to get anywhere with them. Conversational. Again, you're too overconfident. If I was to share the material wealth, you're positioning yourself as someone who has the material wealth of the world to share. It's the tone, like psychometrically, this thing's a train wreck. And that's the biggest thing holding it back. And again, here, you're positioning yourself as the know-all of feminism. And I think that you could take more care or have more humility to go wonder what causes radical feminists to operate and think in the ways that they do, and what are some of the merits of the positions that they hold, and where's that coming from, and in response to what would be better things to contend with than just being you're ignorant. In saying that I am indeed thankful that radical feminists do not represent the entire face of the feminist movement. Yeah, so again, super sanctimonious. This ideally should be a sentence that it's like a fail-safe. If you completely missed whatever, if the marker hasn't followed what you're saying in the rest of the paragraph, this is where you go, hey, look, this is the one thing I want you to take away from the paragraph, and here's how it connects to my developing contention. So there's a bit of a clarity issue. I'm not super clear on what the relationship between radical feminism and capitalism meritocracy is. Nor, mind you, do I think I suppose it does say destroy capitalism, but I feel like you've kind of jumped in on feminism and capitalism rather than looking at this and going, well, what might motivate someone to say that? What kind of social attitude or issue is this pointing towards? I think it's not about this, it's not about this, it's not about this, it's not about this. I think the language, I don't think he really thinks that feminism is encouraging this kind of behavior. Why feminism might cause frustrations. That would probably be a little bit more on topic. Okay. Liberal feminists such as Margaret Thatcher. So this is too long. How many words have we got? 35 is not too bad, actually. After 25 words, comprehension precipitously declines. But my issue is... Yeah, okay. So this paragraph is a classic example of one of the most common flaws I see in students writing. Point, example, see, I'm right. No, that's not logical at all. If I said my ex-wife cheated on me, therefore all women are cheaters, the logical flaw is it's one woman, not all women. Similarly, no matter how many examples you give, it doesn't prove anything. Moreover, when you give examples, you hide yourself from me. I can't see you. It's not in your voice. All I know is that you know a fact about Ellen DeGeneres and Oprah Winfrey and Margaret Thatcher, and that's great, but I don't know whether you're going to be suitable to get into med school. So part of the issue with letting your examples get bloated is that the explanation portion, which is really the heart of the essay, the highest scoring component of the essay, and if you want to know more about that, I've got a YouTube video. I think it's called the Task 8 Body Paragraph, a proper explanation. And I'll go into this here. This is a super common issue, and it's really something that's going to be in the way of you pressing into, dare I say, the 70s? Definitely not higher than 75 doing this kind of stuff. Maybe not higher than 72. Because it's a test of you. It's not a test of what you know. In fact, to that end, just going back to this, this was from the Juliet ACER Models writing. She says, creating ideas, not just recalling previously learned information. Okay. This process values writing as a type of thinking through the written generation of ideas, right? So when she's saying the primacy of writing is a thinking, what she means by that is that you want your body paragraph to show your voice. Now, look, you can't build an edifice from scratch every single time. You do need to have, I recommend that you go out there and find insights, really incredible things that other people, really intelligent people have said, and start to organize them, curate them, understand the relationships between them and the common themes that implicate Western life so that you can reproduce them. And the marker's not going to know it's not your voice as long as it's not written from a book or word for word. But yeah, so really, if you were saying something about feminism, even if it was the words of someone else, the marker doesn't know, that makes it sound like you've come up with that insight. And you've offered that insight, which is always going to score more than, hey, I know a fact. All right, then let's press on. Okay, fine. So yeah, like this. It's unnecessary. I don't know why you would do that. Fine. Yeah, I just wouldn't do this. You quite insensibly promote patriarchy by belittling feminism and talking women as if we still live in the Victorian era. Well, it's just this. And then I've got no idea what she was doing here. All right. Let's leave that there. That went so much longer than I expected it to. I'm so sorry. All right. I'm going to pause and then let's have a look at her writing after. Thanks, guys. All right. Here we are. This is her last essay. So the first thing to know about this one is it was written to time, which is a substantial improvement. Even if she was able to maintain the quality from before, but write it in 32.5 minutes, that already would have got a massive uplift because she wasn't doing that before. And she's obviously very relevant in this essay, which I would have hammered into her. How do you become quicker? Well, I mean, that's a bigger conversation. But you want to think of a GAMSAT essay kind of like it's like a dance or a fight. Right? For a dancer or a boxer, there are a lot of little techniques that feed into the overall performance. For example, for a dancer, first you learn first position, second position, third position. Or for a boxer, you might learn a jab and then the right cross, or how to step, how to move, right? And then together on the night or on the day of the performance, when you relax, the training creatively expresses itself through you. Similarly, there are a lot of different moves, if you will, that go into a GAMSAT essay. One of them, for example, is planning. For most new students, which is to say, someone that I haven't worked with, 75% I'll go of errors track back to the plan. So I get all my students to do 10 plans every week until I know I can trust that I could give them any topic and they could come up with a contention, topic sentence 1, topic sentence 2, and that the topic sentences correspond to the conclusion in the contention in a meaningful way in 2.5 minutes. And when you can do your plans properly, you rule that out. Now, some people struggle to do plans. You'll say, I can't come up with contentions. There's a YouTube video I've got on that, how to make contentions faster than Usain Bolt does the 100. If I can figure it out, I'll do a description bubble. I think it'll be that part of your screen. Anyway, then there's the 30-second way to make a syllogism is another one that you could use. There's a blog on 90plusgamsat.com/blog called The Ontology of Task A Structure. So for a lot of students, that's enough. For other students, it's the process of coming up with ideas that they feel a bit stuck in. I've got a course called Intriguing Ideas for GAMSAT. You can find that on Crowdcast. If you go 90plusgamsat.com, free GAMSAT resources, events, and Intriguing Ideas for GAMSAT. That one's not free. It's $50. But it's a 6-hour course with lots of homework and plenty of value. So that one will show you about how I found the highest scoring ideas, how I curated and organized them, and where they went to my essays. And when you're comfortable and familiar with, actually, let me pause. I'll show you. 2 moments. All right. So, I mean, this was the mind map I came up with prior to my GAMSAT. As you can see, I wouldn't do it like this anymore. I think I've improved my way. But let's take, for example, I made these in about 10 minutes each. I made it during the Intriguing Ideas course to kind of prove a point. So this isn't, this only has technology, but you'll go social media and it'll end up being all of the possible themes. There's only like 10 or so major themes that implicate Western life substantially, maybe religion, science, technology, globalization, democracy, liberalism, collectivism, social media, money and wealth, gender, sexuality, those kinds of things, right? But if you've got all the major themes that could possibly come up on a map and something, really nice to say about each of them, it increases agility because no matter where you end up on your map, you can kind of get to anywhere else really quickly, and that increases time. Anyway, she has made a mistake here. She should know better, but there's 2 quotes here and she should be responding to one, but I'll forgive her. All right, let's have a look. So, the word conformity whispered to the ear too often sparks the dystopian futuristic society envisioned by Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Okay. Look, doesn't blow my mind, but out of the gate, she knows Brave New World. If you had to guess who the markers are going to be, who do you reckon? Probably your English teacher. And they're going to like that kind of Brave New World, Animal Farm, 1984, Hamlet, those kinds of vibes. Certainly more than talking about evolution. So, play to the audience. Anyway, she's still doing this, but we'll get past that. Conformity, in essence, refers to the following of a set of rules. She shouldn't do this. You don't need the definition at the start. But anyway. What we too often see as being the perilous side, it's a very nice word there. Perilous side of conformity comes from submission to an idea due to fear or lack of understanding. Fine, it is time we embrace the other, less explored side of conformity as well. That is, following and abiding to principles, ideas and rules from a place of mutual understanding based on mutual values. Now this, look at the difference psychometrically. SubhanAllah. So before, she was like sanctimonious. I know everything. Like now, look, this is very humane. It's a very sensitive and in tune thing to say. Anyway, noteworthy changes such as the expansion of human rights, revolutions, management, and COVID-19 came from conformity in various legal, socio-political, and ideological. Notice the double triple. 1, 2, changes such as the expansion of human rights, revolution. Yeah, there should be another comma here, but anyway. 1, 2, 3 came from 1, 2, 3. Ba. It's just it's nice cadence and rhythm. Anyway, when we understand we have the wisdom to unite together on the premise of certain ideas, principles, techniques to bring about change, fine. Conformity can be understood through a more constructive lens to appreciate more paradox. That is fine. That's not the best way to word that, but it's a clear contention. Now, she hasn't done a syllogism, but it's better than it was before. So here, here, and here. So 1, 2. Yeah, it's not really therefore because it's not a syllogism, is it? But for conformity, there must be influential idea based on shared values. Fine. When we conform from a place of understanding and awareness from shared values, I think she should have put this here. When we conform through shared values, we change our surroundings. And then this should be reworded to be more clear. Basically, she should have just said conformity is important in driving change. Conformity is important. That's just punchy. Bam. There it is. If you want to know why a short sentence is good, Google How to Write Short Sentences by John Fox. Great blog on that. So for example, the shortest sentence in the Bible, Jesus wept. Punchy. The last line of 1984, he loved Big Brother. Punchy. It's punchy. So look, she needs to fix her wording. So conformity, there must be influential. This is fine. When we conform via shared values, or due to shared values, we change our surroundings. Therefore, conformity, and that then would be a syllogism. When we conform on the basis of shared values, we drive change. So you just need to change the wording. There you go. And so you could say, yeah, this is much closer. Anyway, the point is that her ideas are ordered. They integrate now towards some cogent end, just like ACER asked. All right, let's press on. For conformity, that's me. All right. Look, this should have been here. You got to resist the temptation to expand on the topic sentence, but we'll get past that. Just pick one or the other, this or this. We could have a year, would be better, please. Calling for the Indigenous voice of the country. And in Australia, be clear, probably going to the most fine. The same activities or spot to action to support politicians. Fine. They conform at least to some degree to the social, ethical notions. All right, so notice, now look, she's let it creep a little bit. Generally, I say that the example shouldn't be more than 20% of the paragraph. So since the topic sentence ideally will be 25 words or less, because comprehension declines after 25 words, the example should be no more than 50. The reason for that is because look, it's so much better than, remember the second body paragraph for the first essay, but here she's still chewing into a little bit of a space for her example where she can really shine. Now, remember what I said about voice? Now let's have a look. See, this is her voice. You can get so much more marks for that than just giving an example, but she's limited, man, because anyway. And look here. She kind of got a bit distracted by the Plato thing. What she really should have done here is, every time I hear Plato, I think Plato. Anyway, this really should have been expanded. And there should have been, if she wanted to press into the 80s, we would need to see much more of this. Think of it like the explanation portion where your insight's going to go. And the insight is the outcome of, for example, the intriguing ideas thing I told you about, where to find insights. Or, there's plenty of other places I talk about that. For example, the use of evidence in an ideal task A blog at 90plusgamsat.com/blog. Once you've got an insight, that's really the heart. In a really meaningful way, it's almost like the whole essay exists as a support structure for the explanations. Like imagine like a jewel, right? The crown jewels. You got the podium, the stand, the jewels. You got the glass case. You got the lasers. You got the lights. All there existing as a support structure for the jewel. And in the same way, the essay and all the other structural elements are there as a support structure for your explanation. So don't just give one little line here. It's better. That's why you improved your mark, but you should have more of that. Anyway, the influence photos communicated will bring out conformity. And look, she continues here with her own voice, so that's good. Good. Okay. Oh, I'm also noticing that her writing it's got a greater degree of analytic focus. It's more composed, it's calmer, and it's more clear. When we conform in place of understanding awareness, fine. We move forward. She's done it again. Naughty girl. Get rid of that. And we can get rid of that as well. Waste of words. Made his famous overdoing feed. Yeah, please. In front of the huge codes, risk credit improvements to the rights. Fine. This is because people became aware and informed of justice, started to accept the ideas and demands. Okay, when we view conformity, start to accept the ideas and demands. Okay. I think the statement is made redundant and roboticized to above it. This is really nice. See, look, this is her voice. This is what I'm talking about when I say your voice, when I say your explanation. This is it. Though in some instances, true, conformity is not merely a negative socio-political outcome that is affected. Okay, I'm not really getting, though, the relationship between this and this. So you need each line to connect to the one before and after in like a linear. It's like skipping a rock on water, right? You can see where it's come from or where it's going. What also comes from willingness to comply with or by rules. Fine. We're influencing intended. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. When a majority disapprove or reject sentences, they may change. I don't love. I'm feeling that each sentence in this paragraph is a bit jar. It doesn't connect cleanly. There's not like it's not stepping directly forward and in a clear way. It's kind of, I guess I do accept that she says when we influence, we attend. When we attend, we blah. When we blah, we blah. So this bit is walking forward. When a majority disapprove or reject sentences, but then here, it's like this is like the opposite. Unless she's saying that when we ponder, we come to disapproval, and when we disapprove, they demand change. I think that's where she's going. Okay, this can be changed on a familiar social or political triple. Nice. As ironic as it appears, conformity can and sometimes does underlie the large scale changes we see. Nice. Notice this. It's like a hedge. She wouldn't have done that before. She just would have told you straight out. But it's good. All right, that's fine. Refers to abiding by because yeah, look here, she really should have connected this together, If conformity leads to influence based on shared values, and if conformity based on shared values drives change, it follows that conformity is important in driving change. And then the mark would have known that she constructed that argument and that it was logical. But anyway. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a long last sentence. Though it would have been nice if she had finished on a quote. I don't know, something that impacts you, Joseph Campbell, and life is pain, and life is horror, and life is suffering, but by God, I'm alive, and it's spectacular. or Sylvia Plath. I listen to that old bray of my, wait, no, I stop and listen to the old bray of my heart. I am. Something like that. All right, look, there's still work to be done in this essay, to be frank. But considering that it was written 2 times when she wasn't able to do that before, I think what caused this essay to improve wasn't that there was a lift in the ceiling value. What you've seen in this essay is a lift in the floor value. It's not that she started doing more right things, although, yeah, okay, she also did that. It's that she stopped doing wrong things. And sometimes that makes all the difference. As you know, Aida improved her mark to 79, and that's a fantastic uplift and source of encouragement and inspiration for her in her journey. But it's not always that we see a lot online students who get really incredible marks, and people tend to show themselves off when they're doing well, not in their vulnerable moments. Aida still has some way to go. She's not in a position yet where she's got the marks she needs for med, but with such an uplift in Section 2, it's been a source of encouragement for her. And there's also another lesson in that I think is absolutely essential and beneficial for you guys to know. So many students are trying to get in the next sit and the next sit, and they're like, it's this sit and it's this sit. And when it doesn't happen, they feel discouraged. If you ever get into med, that's an incredible achievement. So don't need it to happen all at once. I was 32 before I got into med. I wanted to get into med when I was 21, but all sorts of stuff had to happen first. So for her, she's playing the long game. She's decided she's getting into med, and I 100% believe she will, because she's just willing to let it take as long as it takes, and she's making step-by-step improvements. But if she made it for herself, I have to get in next sitting, she might not have been able to make such an improvement in Section 2, because fear would have got to her, and fear creates the life you fear. So another lesson to learn from Aida is to let the process take as long as it takes. And instead of trying to go from A to Z, go to A, to B, to C, to D, and collect the information and the benefit and the growth that you need at each step, so that when you get there, you've got all the tools that you need. All right, guys. I'm going to bounce. This has been good. All right, guys, that's it for today. If you want to improve just like Aida, I can help you do it on a free or paid basis. See the description below for a link to the Section 2 sorter group on Facebook. That's where the best writers grow, and you'll have Lana Hollingsworth, head of Section 2 at 90+, who also scored 91. She's one of my students. Marking your essays completely free, as long as you're contributing to other people as well. There's a Discord where there's discussion on med applications, Section 1, 2, and 3, as well as resources and materials that you can join, again, in a link below. A WhatsApp community where you can keep up to date with the newest releases and webinars that I might be holding. And lastly, on the 90+ GAMSAT website, there's a videos page with a playlist of free resources, videos and blogs organized by topic. So please go and check that out. That would be the first stop I'd recommend for you if you're wanting to improve your Section 2. If you like this video, let me know by liking, subscribing, or commenting below anything that you think was good or that I should change. I was thinking of doing a couple more videos for another student last sit that went from 72 to 87, and one more that went from 86 to 90. So if you'd like to hear about that, let me know. Lastly, I have some amazing news and an announcement. I'm going to bounce to that right now, so stay tuned. There's about 2 minutes left, and I promise it's going to blow your mind. All right, guys, catch you later. For the last 6 months, myself and Lana Hollingsworth, head of Section 2 at 90+, as well as an entire team of AI experts and computer scientists from Spain, have been working tirelessly to train an AI specialised in understanding and teaching Section 2, and to get that live to you by January 1st, 2024. The original aim was to produce an enhanced and more helpful version of the ACER online Section 2 test, which would provide more detailed marking. Over time, we realised AI had progressed much farther than that, and we could do even better. We have currently trained LikeMike on over 6,000 essay corrections, as well as transcripts from my tutorials, videos of my speaking on Section 2, and all of my books. At present, LikeMike is able to give both numeric feedback across 10 criteria and parts of the essay, showing you exactly where or in which paragraph you gained and lost points, as well as written feedback, helping you to see why the mistakes were mistakes and directing you to what you can do about it. Finally, he can automatically chart and map your progress and provide to you tailored analytics, all completely confidentially. LikeMike gets smarter every day. Very soon, he's going to get better than me in that he understands what I see, but he can make connections that I didn't. He never gets tired, never forgets, never takes a break. He is, in a word, a machine. A very smart one.
If you want to be part of the initial group of students to get the advantage of having LikeMike on your team, then head to the link above and in the description below to join the pre-sale waitlist. LikeMike, the future of Section 2 advancement.